Now, after hearing about Europe's political state, let's connect this a bit to the American UAP conversation and to Europe's history of UAP sightings and crashes. One case that stands out is, of course, the 1933 Magenta crash, the European Roswell before Roswell, as some may say. This case gained attention through the confirmation by Grusch, Elizondo, and Malgrim. To learn more about it, I have today here a real, I would say a legend of European ufology with us, Roberto Pinotti. Roberto, I will turn on your camera so that we may see you and I may introduce you. There you are. I'm going to ask to unmute you. Wonderful to see you. So Roberto is a legend in European ufology. You can't say it any other way. He was trained in political science and sociology at the University of Florence, and he served as a missile brigadier officer before turning his lifelong fascination with unexplained aerial phenomena into a career in aerospace and social research. In 1967, it's quite a while ago, he founded the Centro Ufologico Nazionale, curating one of the world's largest private UFO archives. Pinotti chairs the executive board of ICER and has authored more than 40 books, including the seminal 2-volume UFO Context in Italy. His 5 decades of scholarship have been honored also astronomically. Asteroid 12470 Pinotti carries your name. Thank you for being here, Roberto.
Thank you to everybody. Okay. Well, since everything seems starting with the Magenta case, well, just to begin, let's say that, well, in the beginning, I had a very particular experience. When I was an officer in a NATO unit during the Cold War in 1972, I was asked by my command to prepare a lecture for the superior officers of our unit. Next, please. And this presentation was a success, but next one, please. There is something else to be said. You see, the next one, please. What is important to say is that when I was told to prepare this conference, a couple of American colleagues, a captain and a lieutenant of the United States Army, went to me and asked me, by the way, but do you know that we in the States have the crashed UFOs and the bodies of the pilots? Frankly, it was 1972. I was very surprised. Next one, please. But you see, probably it's the case to remember that the problem of UFO crashes began to emerge only in 1979, so you understand. Really, in Italy, everything many years later was emerged when I received in 1996 some old documents from an unknown source. Well, this unknown source was really the family of Count Galeazzo Ciano. Next one, please. Count Galeazzo Ciano was the foreign minister, the Minister of Foreign Affairs during the fascist regime. He was really Mussolini's son-in-law. And as far as we know, the mysterious sender who sent us a lot of material about this was Fabrizio Ciano, the third son of Galeazzo. He wrote also a book about his father, who was executed in the final drama of the fascist regime by Hitler's orders. The next one, please. Well, everything focused about the fact that an unknown object had crashed near Magenta in northern Italy in 1933. The next one, please. what we had to do when we received this material was to verify, as we did, everything. But what is important is that we had also original documents. So we had to had a forensic analysis made on them. And the ink and paper analysis by the Como Tribunal forensic expert, Dr. Antonio Garavaglia, proved that they were old and authentic in any case. The next one, please. Yes, here you see not only the document of the original analysis of the Como Tribunal, but also a copy, a simple page of one of the reports. This is a report which took place in 1936 and had to do with the sighting of an elongated objects, followed by two smaller objects like a priest's hat in the sky of Venice and Mestre. The next one, please. And everything was inside this envelope we received. You see this an envelope of the Senate of the Kingdom of Italy, and in it you may read that it has to do with the foreign minister, the foreign affairs minister, Galeazzo Ciano. The next one, please. Yes, here you see a sketch of that particular sighting. You see this object and the two smaller objects Saturn-shaped. The next one, please. We had also an original telegram having to do with the necessity of a total secret about this sighting. This was exactly what the Italian authorities did. A complete censorship on this sighting in 1936. The next one, please. Yes, but what we discovered later was extremely impressive. Really, the mysterious informant had sent original documents to a very important newspaper in Bologna. Unfortunately, all this was not considered, and this material was not only it was not published, but they destroyed the documents. So this guy had also to send photocopies later, as you see. The next one, please. What is interesting is this telegram in which we may read that the fascist government started a completely cover-up about the 1933 crash near Magenta. Nobody had to know this. The next one, please. This telegram says that on the personal order of Il Duce, absolutely no mention is to be made of the alleged landing of an unknown aircraft on national soil. The same applies to today's news due to publication by the Stefani Agency and individual journalists. Maximum penalty for non-compliance will be enforced by the Tribunal of State Security. So nobody could understand and know nothing about this event. Please, the next one. Yes, the object was sent to the CI Marchetti aircraft factory, and there a group of scientists took care of it. This group of scientists was were the scientists who formed the cabinet RS-33. RS stands for Special Research. And 33 has really nothing to do with the year. We discovered that in the archives in Milan, there are about 100 telegrams sent by the prefects of the Kingdom of Italy to the chief of the government, that is Mussolini. And the subject was, of course, what we call today the UFO sightings, or how they call them, unconventional flying vehicles. So you should understand that the section in which all this was filed was the one having to do with new inventions and brevets. That is reverse engineering. And so you understand why. The next one. Yes, this is the reason I express it now. Okay, let's go on. Yes, who was involved in this cabinet? Of course, the director, Guglielmo Marconi, who was the president of the Royal Academy of Sciences of Italy, and the air minister, Italo Balbo, along with Galeazzo Ciano, who was the foreign affairs minister of Italy and Mussolini's son-in-law. Let's go on. The other scientists involved are this one. You see, De Blasi, Cecchini, Giordani, Severi, Cozza, Vallauri, Pirotta, Bottazzi, Crocco. They were all members of the Italian Science Academy. But nobody knew anything about this, of course. It was a secret involvement. Let's go on. What is interesting is that in any case, we know that after 1934, 1935, in Italy there were interesting new studies about what they called the super aviation. And for instance, we have here a project of a, we may call this a flying saucer. This flying machine was conceived by Richard Mite and Giuseppe Belluzzo, and was a sort of Italian-German flying saucer. It was not built, but it was conceived by these two guys, okay? Let's go on. We wrote, of course, a book about all this. Everything started in 2000 in 3 different editions. Let's go on. Not only, some years later, we had also a very unexpected witness from the United States. That is the son of a lieutenant colonel pilot of the United States Army Air Force, William Brophy Jr. This aviator told his son that he has to do with a crashed UFO in Italy, the so-called Mussolini UFO. Of course, it was just an information, nothing else. But later, let's go on. We invited Luis Elizondo in Italy and in San Marino too for our annual World Congress. And in 2021, he had an interview with Max Moskowitz. And in this interview, he admitted something about the Mussolini UFO. We were very surprised, asked him, but where did you get the information? From our studies or not? And he said, no, this has to do with my intelligence. Let's go on. And then we have what made this known to the entire world, David Grusch. David Grusch was the guy who admitted all this. And of course, the problem is that probably the Italian, the United States Department of Defense, probably they did not know that we had already studied this in Italy. The next one. Yes, what, as you know, what Grusch said was that the object was captured in 1945 in northern Italy after the defeat of the Nazi army, thanks to the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services, was the precursor to the CIA, and was sent to the United States. By the way, this object was a bell-shaped UFO from 10 to 12 meters, and now, as far as we know, all this is in the USA. Let's go on. Oh, at this point, we had some else to be shown. Some letters given us by a former Italian premier, Giulio Andreotti. And so we decided to expose all this. These letters had to do with the Italian Secret Service of the fascist regime. And in these letters, agents of this authority mentioned the activity of the cabinet RS-33. And where did all this took place? In Mount Sorate. Mount Sorate was a sort of Italian Cheyenne mountain. It was created by Mussolini 4 kilometers from Rome, with an incredible number of tunnels in this mountain. And next one, please. And in this mountain, many secret studies were faced. By the way, and we did not expect such a thing, the nephew of Guglielmo Marconi had an interview, an open interview with an important Italian weekly magazine, and he admitted that his grandfather really was the director of Cabinet RS-33. So this was another proof about this. Let's go on. And two more proofs. The Daily Mail Online found an unexpected witness. That is, the mayor of Arona, before World War II, told his nephew, Mario Negri, that he had witnessed the fall of what he called this an unknown flying superfortress. It had, of course, been taken by the fascist authorities, and this is what he told him. Not only, another witness, the next one, please, was Lieutenant Alfonso Carminati. You may see him in this photo in Ethiopia with some of his colleagues, because he reported exactly the same thing to his nephew. So you see that after 90 years, we have the immersion of witnesses, and this is extremely incredible. Let's go on. At this point, we wrote a final report, a 600 pages illustrated text, which was published in Italy last year. I may only hope that this may be published also in English, because I think it will be the case. The next one. And then now we have also the statements by the presidential advisor, Harold Malgrams, who said exactly the same things. So it seems that the Magenta case is no longer a secret. Okay, I think that this may be enough, briefly,
Yes.
as you told me to do.
Yes. I think we should make a several-week course with you to fully understand all these let's say, Italian or European crash retrieval programs. There's so much there, and I think in Europe we still have a lot of catching up to do when it comes to understanding this part of history. So thank you so much, Roberto, for being here with us today. And
it was a pleasure, and it was a duty after all.
Yes, and it's an honor for us to have you here, and we also want to thank you from the European community for the seminal work that you've been doing over all these decades to lay the groundwork of ultimately actual disclosure. So thank you so much for all that you represent. Okie dokie. Well, this was Roberto from Italy.